guys, welcome to another episode of our special series that we are in partnership with RaiseTheGame and Ukie for Black History Month, the celebration going on right now in the UK for the month of October. I'm so excited. We have Nigel with us today, and he is going to be our amazing guest to tell us more about his experience in the industry, who he finds inspirational. So let's start off with the first question. Nigel, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what it is you do, and we want all the nitty-gritty details. Like, just get
Oh
into it.
wow, okay, all right. It's always a good question. What do I do? First of all, thank you for having me, and and helping me pick apart what exactly I do.
Absolutely.
So let me try and keep this within some reasonable time. But so I'm the co-founder of the manga brand Mayamada. So I write, and publish manga from our own universe of characters and stories. So I've been doing that for a number of years. In a past life, was a software engineer, so I have an engineering background. Somewhere along the way, decided to leave that and start making comics. That's a whole story. We don't have time for that. So we have this manga universe and make manga, and then I started this with a friend, and we were both engineering background. So along the way, it's very organic how we started in terms of like where certain bits came in the brand. Along the way, we created a gaming event called Gamepad, and it kind of came from I'm going to say a bit of naivety. So we had the idea that you just like make a comic and put it out, and if it's good, then everyone will come to
Yeah,
it.
I did
Right.
something like that. It's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you figure why companies spend so much money on marketing. So we found that out because, if you're new, people
Absolutely.
generally don't care. So what we decided to do is take something we were interested in and something we saw a lot of the different types of people that were into our comics liked, which is video games. So at that time, this is like what decade are we in? The last decade, the early in the last decade. We were doing some events, so we thought, okay, we like events. We like the idea of bringing together a community around our brand. So let's make a video game event. People would come to play video games, and in the process, hopefully, they would kind of like the experience, like what we do.
Mhm.
Around the same time, I'd also started doing workshops with young people in schools,
Aw,
colleges.
dude,
So
I love
taking,
hearing stuff like that. I really do. Like giving back. I think that's amazing.
Mhm.
yeah, and it's tiring. Kids are
Yeah.
tiring, but
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
So I
We used
learned
to
this
be
also.
teachers in South Korea,
Oh, all
so
right. So you know,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
okay. So you know that whole thing. So yeah, we do these comic story workshops. So we're doing workshops, making a manga, having the event. We then kind of saw like we were getting different types of people at our event,
Mhm.
and there was a whole like the community aspect. We're doing these regular events. Started out in literally a furniture shop. Um, so we started doing this event, and then it built some traction. So we got some support from people like Ubisoft and Nintendo, which is great because
That's what's
That's
up.
incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ubisoft in particular, I'm very appreciative of their community manager at the time, because this was still when we were in the furniture shop, and he came to the event and started supporting the event when, really didn't have to. But
Amazing.
so that was cool. And then by that time, we then sort of graduated into like proper venues. And along the way, we were sponsored to do an event in an area of London called Grenfell. So I don't know if this news would have reached where you guys are, but there was a massive and tragic fire in an area of London that killed
Oh
a number
yeah,
of people.
the apartment
Yeah,
complex. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember
So
that.
after those events, we were sponsored to do an event in the area just to provide something that was positive, even if just for a
Yeah.
day.
Mhm.
So we did this event, and that kind of was a eye-opening experience, just because we had by that point people who had been coming to our event previously. So people who were into games already, playing games, and local people, local families, young people, and it was a real mix of people who had know about games. People just here to just have a day out. And I got the idea of like, okay, video games can be more than just the entertainment, but like bringing people together, and the
Mm-hmm.
idea of inclusion and diversity. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we just went on that road. So then Gamepad became like this idea of, we're making this event and we want to promote inclusion and diversity, and also provide an opportunity for young people to to gain some measure of work experience in a field like related to sort of games and things like that. So yeah, we've just been doing that since.
That's incredible.
That,
Was it
yeah.
Was it always kind of part of the plan? I mean, you
No,
said
there
at the
was no plan.
beginning. Yeah, I was
There was
gonna
no
say.
there was no
You
plan.
said at the beginning it was kind of like,
Yeah.
let's just make a manga.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, let's do fun stuff together. And like,
Yeah.
how does it feel looking back on all of it now? Because I'm sure, like you said, it's been a minute since you started, and to see where you guys have gotten to, and especially the amount of work that you're doing to give back is amazing. How does it feel looking back? Like, where's your mind at?
Yeah, I mean, the past year has been all over the place, but looking back, to be honest, it's something I don't do enough, because, like you say, you see, oh wow, we started there, and now we're here. There's actually a distance traveled there, and you don't always appreciate that, or I don't always appreciate that when you're always in it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think for me, it's been, if I look back, it's been a case of finding purpose, almost, and like we're a company, we're a brand that's working to grow. We have a team around us, but I personally believe that it's about adding some value, like whether you're a because there's different ways to set up companies. You can be a charity, you can be an enterprise, you can be a business. So we're a business, but I believe whatever you do, there's some element of what's your purpose, what's the point of what you're doing, and however you're making your money, like what's the point of it all. So for me, it's like, oh, somewhere along the way, I found some purpose, and some like tiny business skills, mainly purpose, and yeah, just trying to hone in on that, and then make what we do sort of work as a business. Because, like I said, marketing, all that stuff is
Right.
very important, making money, but it's all like the why. Why are you doing this, and what are you adding? So I think when I look back, that's what comes to my mind.
I think
I
it's
just
such a
got chills.
noble
That was an incredible answer, really, truly.
I think it's a really noble thing to like go into something and be able to give back, right? Because a lot of people don't want to take that time to give back to their community. And some of our core values are, diversity and inclusion. And that's why we use our platform to give all people from all walks of life, all like background, races, a platform to actually tell their story. So, first of all,
Mm.
thank you so much because that was incredible. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that life has a way of just changing things up, but I think the path you're on is really dope. And I hope that like you continue to do it. I hope you don't get like burned out from it because we need more people
Yeah,
like
still
that. Just
working managing
yeah,
that.
it's yeah. But we need people like you out there like giving back to the community. And yeah, I do remember about that the tragedy happening and the apartment complexes burning down. So I think I don't know. I never would have thought to like host something like that, and there you were like doing that just for like the kids and the people to take their mind off of it, and I think that's
Mm.
really incredible. So yeah, all right, moving on to the next question, the next segment. What is something that you want to see moving forward, whether that be in the gaming industry or in like the comic industry or just in general for Black voices, people of color in general? Like what do you want to see happening, like some positive changes that you think should happen and you're pushing for?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and again, just making me think about, yeah, why are we doing what we're doing? I think in terms of changes, there's lots of changes that can be made in terms of like where we're working on it. It's certainly like future generations and young people. So a bit of background. I mean, I mentioned the engineering, but when I did software engineering, I worked in places where I was the only black person, at least in the software engineering part uh, in the department. Very few in the company, and I lived in places where it's not very diverse. And for me, I tend to be quite introvert anyway, so it's kind of like whatever, at least consciously, didn't impact me. I just got on with what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was only when I started working in schools with like young people. So I work with young people as young as like 8, 8, 9, 10, up to sort of teens, 16, 17, sometimes older. But particularly the younger ones, when you then see the need for representation and why it matters, because when you
Absolutely.
don't see
Mm-hmm.
yourself, it's a non-verbal sign of this is not for you, or at least it makes you
Yes.
question, this can't be for me because I don't see myself there. So I can't be part of that. Um, so that was the first thing in terms of like what needs to change, and having young people from diverse backgrounds understand that if they want, because it's not about you have to do this, you have to do that, but if they want, this is an option for you. And then on the flip side is working with like industry, and we're here for, like, Ukie have been a part of that, Raise the Game, and to understand that the way you look for talent is a certain way, and it's going to get you a certain type of person, and there are other ways that talent can be found, can be nurtured, and supported, that is not automatically lowering any quality. It's just a different path for people to find you, because ultimately, like, we all like playing games. Well, I assume you like playing games. I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
really ask
we
you that,
enjoy
but
it.
I'm gonna make an assumption.
I think it's fair.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's
All right,
it's
Yeah.
because it's always like, don't assume, but we're
Yeah.
here now. So yeah, you like playing games, and there's that thing about, oh, all the games are the same, and I'm tired of this type of game. Well, a large part of all the games are the same because they're being made by the same types of people.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
you're getting the same stories, same
exactly.
characters. That's
Hmm.
kind of why. So it's, for me, again, what I want to see change is different stories being told through these games, through the sort of medium of gaming, which is a great platform for telling stories, but allowing different stories to be told. But we're only going to do that if you allow different people in to make
Mm-hmm.
the games that people are
Thank
then going to
you.
play. So I think
Say
for
it
me,
louder
it's,
so the people in the back can hear you.
yeah, yeah. No, it's when you think about it, it's to me, it's obvious. So for me, what I would like to do as a brand, or help as a brand, because I don't think it's on any one person or company, is to help support and nurture the talent. So I mentioned like work experience and things like that, so they can understand like there's a path for you, but here's where you need to be. So that means for some people they do need to improve, but you only know that if you see the path. And
Right.
then
Mm-hmm.
for industry to understand that there are different ways to attract and retain talent. Here's some of the places where you might not be looking, where there are very talented young people. So see if we can, in some ways, sort of be a bridge for that. So we're doing that in some ways through our gamepad platform, where we have regular discussions, interviews, panels with industry professionals, or a podcast. And in future, it's something we'd like to do more and just make it part of our business in a sense. So kind of like everyone gets value from it, and as a whole, as an industry, hopefully we're helping to nurture sort of diverse talent.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. No, I definitely like that. I complain about it all the time, like just because of my age and my era of when I grew up. Like we just didn't see a lot of people of color, and if you did, they were always like the best friend or the sidekick or something like that. And
Yeah.
you said something earlier which I just thought hit it on the nail. Like, um, it's like a silent way of telling, if you don't see yourself, it's like a silent way of
Mm.
telling you like this isn't really for you, this is who you are in the world, and this is like your representation. And media is so important, even more now so today, because like kids are always on their phone, always on iPad, always on the computer, and like we need to see ourselves out there doing amazing things. And if
Mm.
it's not amazing, just in the industry. And I
Yeah.
think one of the sad things is you still don't see enough of us in the industry. That's just people of color completely. You have, and this is no shade, but you have white people writing our stories,
Mm.
Yeah.
and we need to be able to be given a place. Like it's almost, to me, I don't know, I get a little upset. It's almost like, how dare you write my story and not have me write my own story? and have
Yeah.
me show my experience. There's absolutely no way you could get all the nuances of the Black experience or the
Yeah.
Native American experience or the Asian experience. Like we need to be in there, and they need to let us in there. And if they don't, like what you're doing right now is you're creating your own path, and you're networking, but you're creating your own thing. So it's like, okay, well, you know what, if you're not going to let me in, I'm going to create my own thing, and I'm going to bring in more talent, and then we're just going to show you how it's done. Because I'm kind of
Yeah.
tired of hearing the whole like, oh, first Black person to do this, first Black person to do that. I'm like, it's
I know.
why are we still hearing first Black person to do anything like in
Yeah.
this day and age? So yeah, no, I
No,
think
I
that's
agree.
really cool.
Is because it is like that. Because it is good when you see that the first Black person, because it means there's some progress being made. But then at
Yeah.
the same time, I always I think about so like I mentioned, we make comics, and pre-pandemic, hopefully in future as well, we attend comic conventions, and you there's a particular one I remember an experience of being in ours is MCM, our biggest convention, and they have an area for independent creators. So I just remember being in the earlier days, being a sea amongst a sea of comic creators, and being like one of the one or two Black creators,
Yeah.
and then you kind of understand how it it then becomes, that's where you get the first, oh, you're Black, where it shouldn't be,
Yeah.
because for a number of white creators, there's a range of stories being told. There's no like, this is the white experience. There's no,
Right.
because you have all these different voices being in. So I get what you're saying. Like you'd want to see more, less of like, oh, the first, and just, oh, here's
Right.
a
I
range of
don't want it
Black
to be the
voices.
exception. I want it to be the norm. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And I feel like that's what we like need to move towards. And you're right. I remember going to Comic-Con in San Diego and going down the art aisle, and it was just like maybe one or two of us. And
yeah.
not just Black people, but just people of color in general. You just didn't see a lot of them there. And I think one of the most important things is like we're all like super excited about Black Panther and everything, but again, he was like created by someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like one of the biggest major characters, Black characters in Marvel. I would have to arguably say is Storm and Black Panther, and they weren't even created
Mm,
by us.
mm.
So yeah, I feel like we have so many amazing stories. Hollywood, if you're listening, anybody else, if you're listening, there are so many amazing stories just out of like Africa itself. It's such a diverse country. Stop remaking shit. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but like there's stuff out there for us to make and to tell, and like just give
Mm.
us a chance. Like you're always surprised when we do something
I know.
that's like, oh, that's so creative. Like we've
But that's the
always been
thing.
creative and
There
talented.
are, and there are so many stories to be told, and I think like storytelling that kind of boils down to just a few different types, and it's just like how you represent it in terms of like the characters, the context. But those types, those are super relatable. That's why you can. I mean, again, I know we mentioned Black Panther, but the film itself, when it came out, you didn't have to be Black to enjoy that. Like,
Yes.
Mhm.
regardless of what you thought of the quality of the film, like the story, you can still understand it. It's just,
Yeah.
you can
Right?
still understand what was going on. It still
Story
had
of a
the story
hero,
beats.
y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they're out there.
No.
Especially like as a consumer, like shouldn't you be sick of the same kind of stories being told over and over again? Shouldn't you have like a greater appreciation for a greater variety of stories, more diversity in your storytelling? Like get more people of color in the room so you get to experience new things. There's certain things that I never would have learned about if it wasn't for entertainment, right? So I mean, like,
Mm.
why not create more diverse stories, more variety in what you're storytelling and what you're consuming, so that it isn't just the same thing over and over and over again? Like that, there should be more.
It's such a powerful tool. Like the media is like a double-edged sword. It really
Yeah.
is. And it's just gotten
Yeah.
more powerful, and it's like shaping our history. It's shaping like how we see each other, how we view each other. Like I know like when we lived in South Korea, I was just really surprised by how like people would react to me. Not everyone, but just it just surprised me that there was like a lot of negative reinforcements, and I was like, where are you getting this from? There's not enough of us here
No.
doing like crazy shit for you to be thinking this, right? And it's the
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
It's the media. So like, I think moving forward, we really have to, like, if they're not going to give us space, we have to make our own space. And I think Black people have always been really good at that. Like, if you're not going to give us our space, we're out of like all the races, I really think Black people are like one of the loudest, which we come across as one of the most obnoxious. But it's like, look, we're going to make our own space if you don't give us space. And I am so proud of us for that, because I'm not the silent type. I'm gonna tell you, like, you're fucking up. So
And there's a lot of space out there. So
yeah,
like, yeah,
there's so much room,
yeah.
right?
I mean, even like to anyone watching, if you're thinking I need to go and get like validation or anything, you can go and just make something. You can. There's space.
Right?
There's
Just
space.
do
There's
it.
resources. Yeah.
It's infinite. Like, we're not going to run out. So just know that. So for any of the young listeners listening right now, if you're a person of color, even if you're not a person of color, and you're like, oh my God, like we've talked about this a little bit. There's so many podcasts. Yo, just make another podcast. You could be the next big thing. Yeah. Just do it.
It's surprisingly easy. So if I could do it.
Yes, exactly. Just do it. All right. So rounding out towards the end, we'd really like to know someone who has inspired you. It could be like a historical figure, somebody who's still alive today. Like, who's someone who's like just really, I don't know, just been like, you know what, when I think about this person, like, it makes me so proud of who I am today and the past that they carved out for me to get where I'm going, that kind of thing.
So I was thinking about this, and like, even as we're talking, so I'm going to mention one person, but I do want to, on the idea of just like going out, making your own thing and your own rules, I do want to mention like Dave Chappelle, because so he's my favorite comedian. I think he's hilarious.
He's dope as hell.
But the whole story, don't need to go into it, but the whole story of him sort of leaving his show and then coming back on his own terms, I think is just very powerful and making people work around what he wants and what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I think is very inspirational in that sense. So I wanted to mention that. But someone that came to mind is fairly recently have come to my attention just because of a quote I saw, but just in reading a bit more about the person. So John H. Johnson. So I got some notes here because he's the creator, is it? Or he basically made Ebony and Jet magazines.
Oh my God, I remember my grandma used to get those all the time.
So, and the reason I came across him is, you get these quotes all the time, like on, you can search for different quotes. And I came across one that was, there is no defense against an excellence that meets a pressing need. And this was something to me that I tried to hold on to, particularly like in last year when just things did not go. I mean, I said there was no plan, but did not go to any kind of plan last year. But I thought I was like, who said this and who is this person? So then I looked into a bit of his history, and just being from a poor background in Arkansas, and being told, essentially someone who was told no a lot, whether it's by sort of banks to loan money or people who told him you cannot make a magazine aimed exclusively at Black people because that would not sell, advertisers who might not want to advertise because there's no market if it's only Black people, but then creating a multi-million-dollar business empire because he was just like, I'm going to do this. And one of the things for me why that stuck out to me is the quote, because I think I believe that. I believe that if you are good enough and you can make something work, people will come to you. And I guess I have to believe it, right? Because that's the whole thing about entrepreneurship. You have to believe that. But also, and I link this back to working with young people, where sometimes if you're from an area that's not considered the best, and that's certainly me, you can let that hold you back, and that be a reason why I can't do this, or I can't do this because I'm from this, or we didn't have that. But I always try and get across to young people, like, everyone's from somewhere, and you being from, some people do have more privileged upbringings and have done nothing with their lives. Some people are
Absolutely.
from what is, considered poverty or whatever it might be, and have done great things like John H. Johnson. So it's that reminder that everyone's from somewhere, and that's not the reason that you can't do something. So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring that up. Not even because I've read Ebony Magazine or anything, but just the story of
No,
him starting that.
that's incredible. And I love that that's the person you picked, because like I said earlier, if you don't give us space, we'll create our own space.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And Ebony's a huge fucking magazine, y'all.
That I
don't
know. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
And I remember like getting Jet. Like Jet was like this small little magazine, but like it always I know like some of the biggest names at the time were on the covers, like
I've seen a lot of covers.
yeah, a lot of, and I'm just like, you know what, like I think just moving forward, like oh my god, I don't think I ever realized how hard it is. So like as you're saying, it doesn't matter the background you're coming from. And that's absolutely true. It doesn't. You may have to work a little bit harder to get where you need to go.
You might get a different set of hurdles.
Yeah,
definitely.
a different set of hurdles, but you can do it. And I think one of the things that like I've come across is just us starting our podcast and not knowing where it was going to be, to the point where we're partnering with Raise the Game and Ukie to talk about Black History Month. And I did not know that the UK had a Black History Month that was different from ours. So that's something that I learned. And I was just like, yeah, we're on board. Let's do this. And it's so incredible because I really think this is opening doors, and it's opening doors in ways that I never expected it to do. And I am so, let me just end it like this. I'm so happy that we got to have you come on as a guest and just speak about what you're doing, your hopes and dreams for the future, and to drop a little knowledge about somebody who's just done amazingly well and is a Black voice in our culture today. So is there anything else you would like to say before I ask you to drop all your information, just so our listeners can find you if they want to find out more about your comic, they want to find out more about like the game, if they want to watch you stream, because you said you were streaming beforehand, right?
Yeah, we've got a few streams coming up as well. We've got a whole event coming up. We've got a bunch of stuff I can plug.
Yeah, so we want to support you, and we want our listeners to support you. So can you just throw out your details?
Yeah. So I will say, I guess, just to round that whole thing up, because my thing is storytelling. I always feel like the power of stories is to have empathy for a person who's not yourself, and I feel that in itself should be a reason to want to go out and get consume more stories. Not to say every story is for everyone, but there are different stories that have characters that are not in your experience, and I think that's a good thing to go and go and consume that. So that's that. In terms of self-promotion, I could do that. So so Mayamada.com would be the best place to go. We have a new manga coming out all around the pandemic, or at least the pandemic as it is in our universe. So a story kind of about that we're finishing up. We do have a number of streams coming up. So we've got a video game roundtable stream next week, talking about like latest video game news, things that stand out to us. And then we have our autumn gamepad online event on the 16th of October. So we're bringing people together in a inclusive, friendly, good-natured esports competition. Yeah, trying to do esports, but less about crushing the competition and more about everyone coming together and having a good time. And then I've got a bunch of interviews and a panel around getting into the industry. So I'm talking with a number of people who've just made it into the industry to find out how they did that and what others can learn from them. So that's a few of the things. But yeah, Mayamada.com, Mayamada on Twitter, Mayamada TV on Instagram. Still working at the TikTok thing. Give me some time for that.
Hey, TikTok is. I'm still working on TikTok.
But all the other places you can follow us and find out what we're up to.
Wonderful. All
Incredible.
right, so thank you again for coming on. Guys,
Really.
we will have all the information where you can find Mayamada. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Cut it back. We'll have all the information where you can find Mayamada down at the bottom. We'll also have information on his inspirational person down at the bottom, so you can click and read and find out more for yourself. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And listen to me. We want you back just on our regular show, because oh my God, you speak so eloquently. It's so hot. Yes, please have us on.
I appreciate that. Did we get that recorded? Did we record that?
Yeah, we recorded.
Okay,
that,
cool,
yeah.
cool. Yeah. I don't know if people believe me if someone said that, but anyway.
No, definitely. Yo, just put me down as a reference. But thanks, guys, for coming to check us out. Again, we're going to have more episodes all this month. We're dropping each one on Thursday, and we're celebrating Black History Month with the United Kingdom. Thanks again to Raise the Game and Ukie for partnering with us, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. Deuces.
Bye.